So, how have you been? How's everything on your side?
Better than I deserve, or probably I do deserve.
That's amazing to hear. I'm loving the content you are posting like daily, man. You have some really good energy, man. You're just posting like regularly, huh?
I mean, if you have to go swimming, you go all the way to the deep,
Absolutely, man. I couldn't agree more.
right?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, especially in this game because the competition is fierce.
I mean, there's no competition.
What do you
I
mean?
don't want you to look at it like that. There's a piece of the pie, and there is enough for everybody.
How how do you that's no, oh, hang on a second. Hang on a second. How that doesn't make sense. Don't you feel like the space right now is oversaturated? Everyone has a podcast these days. Everyone has a YouTube channel these days. How do you stand out?
I could not have paid enough money for you to ask me that question. Because, unbeknown to us, there is a programming there that happens that makes us believe that there is not enough to go around. And for us, black people, it's from lack and scarcity. And because of the history of where we came from, the entire continent of Africa, because of the history of colonization,
Yeah.
because of the history of being subservient, we have always been programmed to believe there is not enough to go around. But
Hey.
it is not accurate. I did not exist 20 days ago. Yes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are those people? What were they consuming before I showed up? So we just opened a new line of production. We did not shut anything down.
Yeah.
That's the plentiful of the provision of the universe. But we, because of the damages and the traumas of our past, we look at everything as having a diminished value. If you have this, you must be taken away from this. And it will make a lot of sense why the Gen Zs are obsessed with cryptocurrency. They don't even know what I'm going to say next is what is happening.
Hey.
They are obsessed in a game where somebody has to lose for them to win. They have no idea that's what is happening.
Hey. You know, in a way, you're absolutely right. Because if you think about a value of something, that means the value of something is because someone else is willing to pay that amount.
But when you're in a game of winning and losing, then there is a diminished value, a potential diminished value. Because in cryptocurrency, for you to win, somebody else has to
Someone has
lose.
to lose. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you're making a product, there's somebody interested in that product. The more people are interested in the product, the more you have the potential to build, to create, to manufacture more product. You see?
Right.
Your
Right.
product is not taken away from anything. The consumer is not taken away from anything. There is just more of those. 8 billion of those. That's how immense the supply is. But we just narrow the perspective to if this one is winning, it's because this one here is losing. There's not like that. And you don't know the politics of the We Had You Club, the Munyamwezi spaces. I would have given you a very good analogy.
Hey.
There is a faction of
Yeah.
the offshoot group that thinks that for them to win, for them to succeed, for them to do as good and better than Munyamwezi, for them to appeal to a group of people for their content. Wherever that content is, Munyamwezi has to die. And now they are consumed by that effort of diminishing this product A in their head because of the trauma of lack and scarcity. In their head, it's the only way product B can have a market share. But a market share is immense. If you zoom out of this small group of people, then you find other Twitter spaces. If you zoom out of that Twitter spaces, you find the whole country. If you zoom out of that country, you find the whole continent. If you zoom out of that continent, you find the entire world.
Right.
Doing exactly what you are doing, and you are fighting over. Here, I was testing the sound right now.
Yeah.
And I needed a feedback from a voice that would mimic this phone call. And I looked at a random space on X so that I can get the sound. And I'm looking for the worst connection. I'm not looking for the good ones. I'm looking for the ones with the poorest connection. It took me to people talking about the war in Iran. It took me to Nigerians talking about the cryptocurrency. It took me to some people speaking a language I did not understand. They are out there. But when you are in this little circle looking around, when you are inside looking around, you think there's not enough here. So now we have to kill this one. Now that is what is informed by the crabs in a bucket.
Hey.
But there's unlimited supply of everything. Literally everything, including babies and wives and husbands. But when you're operating from the perspective of lack and scarcity, then that perspective of diminished value works with you everywhere. And all the decisions you make are those informed by, if I have to win, somebody will have to lose. That's why you have village witches. That's why village witches are in market. Because somebody believes for their business to flourish, I need the witch's doctor's help. I don't think doctor and the witch are the same people. I think it's a different culture.
Yeah.
For them to kill this business so that might can flourish. What about the business you don't know that is doing better than both of your businesses combined? What about that one? There is more than enough to go along. There is unlimited supply of filling the gap. Unlimited. Unlimited. And that's why I like emphasizing that point that me, George, NGA, I am unlimited. I can be anything, I can become anything, I can do anything. There is no limit, there is no limitation to the word anything. To cite myself in away from the curse of the blacks, of lack and scarcity. But you were saying, I told you the coffee is going to kick in. Now do you have a problem with sound?
Yeah, well, yeah, the audio is kicking in properly. I can hear you perfectly now. Man, dude, you've not even like, we haven't even like gone in and given like small talk. You've just gone in like full, like you've just gone in hard, man.
Now you were saying, how did we get to this conversation?
We got to this conversation because I was saying that there is so much, there's so much saturation of people creating content, and how do we compete with with all of these? Because the space right now is oversaturated. How do we stand out from the crowd? And this whole mentality that how do we stand out? Basically, is the main like thing that I'm trying to like point out here is like, we're trying to create this content. We want to stand out from the crowd. Everyone is creating content these days. How do we stand out? And yeah, that's. But then you went into this whole.
No, so stop right there. Mm-hmm. To prove the point that we are not oversaturated, what me and you are doing right now, nobody else was doing before me and you. So where is the saturation for that?
My point was the podcasts and YouTubers in general, right? Let's take it from a YouTubers in general point of view, right? Everyone, most I've seen a lot of people creating content these days, and there are so many channels that don't even have a lot of views, but they still post videos daily. If you look at YouTube stats, there are videos that are being posted in a day, probably in the millions. That's
Okay,
that's why I
and
was talking about saturation.
you go look at them.
No, obviously not.
So YouTube has categories. And the safest categories on YouTube, I think, is how to. What do they call it? Do it yourself?
Yeah, DIY.
DIYs?
Yeah, DIY. Yeah,
That's the most popular category of YouTube.
right.
And then the next one is camping. Do you know that guy in a truck and a dog and goes in the wild, in the wild, and camp with his dog?
Yeah. It's Outdoor Boys. Is it Outdoor Boys?
Do you know?
Yeah.
No, just one guy and his dog.
I think it's called Outdoor Boys, the name of the channel. I think so.
Outdoor Boys is the one who just quit the other day. The father with 3 boys.
Right. Wait, he quit.
Oh yeah, I think that's called camping. Yeah, it's called Outdoor Boys. That's the father that quit. The
Yeah.
guy. Forget about that one.
Okay.
There is a solitary guy with his dog and his truck, a camping truck, and he goes in the wild and he set up camp and he starts cooking.
Yeah.
Nobody in this planet know how he sounds like. He never says a single word. He is one of the most popular people. So I was saying that category now also, the camping category, is probably number 2 in popularity. Number 3 would be cooking. Number 4 would be maybe traveling. But you have to be very careful with the traveling because people want to see what identifies with them. But that's a story for another day. My point here is there is unlimited potential. There's 8 billion people. We have not scratched the surface yet. The entire of YouTube has not scratched the surface yet. Imagine now, let's flip it. Imagine Google saying, we need to slow down.
Yeah.
We have put so many roads on the Google map.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, right? Because the more roads you put on the Google map, the more people get access to Google map. The more the world is interconnected. Because once there is that road, then it's going to tell you this is where the cafeteria is. Oh, if you're in this area, this is where you go to this other. Oh, if you just go down the street, there's an entry to the beach.
Yeah.
If Google did not put it in the Google map, then it does not exist. But is it existing for good or for competition? For good.
Right.
But let's retire. Let's go back to why we are here.
Yeah. We've completely drifted off topic, but very valid points, man. But just one question I have, because it's just invoked a question now. So where does this mentality of scarcity come in? And the reason I'm asking this question is because, and I've heard a lot of my friends say this, even in respect to relationships and finding women. Oh, there are not a lot of women around. You're going to die alone. You're not going to find the perfect one. Where does this mentality come from? Because I've heard a lot of my friends tell me this. Oh, you're not going to find the right woman. You're not going to like all the good women are taken, all the good women are already in relationships, so you need to do some miracle in order for you to find that perfect one. And it's like, so where's that mentality coming from, like that scarcity mentality? Because like you're saying, the scarcity mentality is what's making us I guess fight over something that which should actually be unlimited, I guess.
Look, let me let you peek into my brain just for a tiny bit.
Okay.
When you are saying that, I was doing a mental calculation between our age differences.
Yes.
And the difference between my age and your age, there is a woman who is of the legal age, and I can access that woman. Did you understand what I just said?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. In fact, now that you've brought this point, now that you've brought
That woman age plus your age is younger than my age, and I can access her legally in all the countries and territories of the world. So where is the shortage?
I
That's how I look at things.
I absolutely I look, I know, I understand you have a lot of experience and knowledge, and I totally appreciate that. In fact, personally, I look at it as an absolute privilege to be able to communicate with you like this at this level. And I don't want you to get this impression that I'm looking at you as my equal. I absolutely respect your opinions and decisions. I'm just here to question, because you have to understand, I'm still trying to absorb this information. So I have so many questions. I have, like, and like you mentioned, I am way behind the syllabus.
But even that fact itself, and don't forget what the topic is one more time.
Yeah, yeah.
If I go apply to work in a construction site in Kilimani or Kileleshwa, my only skill is to carry the bricks up to the 19th floor.
Yeah.
There is the foreman, there is the supervisor, there is the mason.
Yeah.
There are the guys that have more experience than I have, that started with from the beginning of the foundation of this unit that you are creating.
Yeah.
But my value is not diminished simply because I have just a tiny faction that I'm contributing to. So when you say we are not equals, but what is my value without your value? What is your value without my value? We are building together. Your part is as essential as my part. In our Christian religion, there is a place Jesus himself said that. He gave a parable of the people who went to work. It's from 7 to 4 p.m. Some showed up at 7 in the morning and worked the entire day until 4 p.m. Others came at 9 and worked the entire day until 4 p.m. Others came at noon and only worked 4 hours. And Jesus said they were all doing the same job. Because what mattered is the contribution. So it's not an issue of being equal, it's an issue of you bringing in your ideas, your contribution, and me bringing in mine. And then we combine together and we build this, whatever we are building.
Absolutely.
Whether it's the parable of Jesus or my parable of the high-rise in Kileleshwa. So no, don't diminish the value that you bring to the equation.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's more needed than you would think it's wanted. But now, let's one more time dial back. Why are we here?
Yeah. Exactly. Why are we here? Wait, are you asking me? Are you waiting for me to respond, or are you going to say something?
I thought you had another question.
Well, yes, of course. I have a couple of questions, and then I also wanted to share a story towards the end, which is also another fascinating story. And this is a story.
Is it one of those stories where you're being chased by women? You hold it out,
No, 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 no. I was talking to a very close friend of mine, and
No, no, no. Don't go to the story first.
yeah, 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 of course. It's just a friend story. It's not my story.
We used to hear those stories. It's not me. It's my
It's not me. It's not me. It's not me. Because no, no, no. I can prove it.
Your friend is asking.
I can I can prove
Friend,
I can
you have
prove
more
it.
details than your friend.
No, no, no. I can prove it. It's not me. It's not me because I have screenshots, man.
All right. What is the next one? What is the next question?
Okay. Yes. So there was one video.
I'm encouraging you to ask me questions
Absolutely.
because that is what activates my brains.
Yes,
I know what I know.
we need to extract this information from your mind.
Exactly. The deeper the Johannesburg gold mine is, the more gold is down there. So keep digging.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So there was a couple of days ago I had made a video and I was asking myself, now you're gaining a lot of attention and views and all of this kind of stuff on YouTube, and at some point, you know, your channel will definitely blow up. You know, hopefully we can definitely see it. I mean, at the rate at which you're going, I feel like you can get there. And my question was, when you get to the top there, and you are now with all this power, what next?
Is that the question?
Because you're okay. Let me try and phrase it in a different way. We're telling men to build ourselves to become like these superhumans. Well, that is the understanding that I'm getting from all of this, right? We need to build ourselves. We need to become very strong. We need to be fully aware of our surroundings, fully aware of our emotions, and in control of our emotions. We need to be very decisive. We need to know how to take action. We need to know how to maneuver when we're faced with obstacles. When we get to that level where we have conquered everything, I don't know if it's even the right thing to say, really, but when we have reached that level where we can attract, because you're saying when a man has built himself, he has that ability to attract the right woman. When he reaches that level, then what? What happens after that? Because I feel some people lets that power get to their head and misuse that power, you know. And I was just given an example with what you were doing with your channel, and I'm not saying you're deliberately doing this, but this was just an example. Like, let's say, you know, you have a voice call with me or someone who is not in that position to maybe pay for content. You know, they're still a young kid and they're still trying to find their way through the world and everything. And you're giving them some very good information. But then you take that information and you put it behind a paywall or something, or a, you know, members only video. And yes, because you can do that, you know, you've reached that status where you can decide which information you want to share. This is just an example. And now you have this power, but you now say, you know what, I'm going to share it only with the specific people or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like I totally get the concept of building the man up, yes. But when we get up there, first of all, what's next? And I know people when they get power, they tend to abuse it. They tend to manipulate people around them. So it's a tricky point to be in. I don't know if it makes sense. I don't know if this whole question even makes any sense. I just wanted to know your thoughts of like where I'm coming from.
Okay, so this is not a dig at you. It's just an eye opener.
Good.
Remember when we were talking about lack and scarcity?
What? Sorry, when we were?
We were talking about lack and scarcity.
Yeah.
That is your viewpoint. Everything you just asked is from a point of lack and scarcity. But now let's divide that long question into 3 categories.
Okay.
There is the young man. There is me, and there is the product.
Okay.
Now, what are we trying to do with the young man?
We want to build him up. We want to, I guess, give him the product.
The product is what?
The message? The information?
Yes. And why is there a need for the man to have the message and the information? Let's call it information.
Okay.
Why is there a need for a man to have information?
I feel that he needs this information in order to navigate the obstacles that he faces in the normal day-to-day life, not just with women, but with just the world, basically.
And it's because that information is not in him yet. So there is deficiency of information in all these interactions. Our generation, your generation, have gone into this relationship with women without the information.
Information, yeah.
And now we are victims of the consequences of that, engaging the woman without the information. So if we are equipping the man with the information, what is going to happen? There is going to be more healthy relationships between men and women.
Yeah.
Isn't that what we want?
That's exactly what we want. Exactly.
Don't jump into anything else. Let's stay just on the young man.
Okay.
So all we are doing is telling the man, these are the rules of engagement.
Yeah.
And for you to apply the rules of engagement, you need to have this information. You have to know that a woman is never evil.
Yeah.
A woman is never wrong. A woman is not mischievous. A woman is not, what is the other word I had from that idiot from Canada? Wicked. A woman is not wicked. Those words, those labels you are giving a woman is because you don't understand a woman.
Right.
So how about we tell you something about a woman? That a woman is in touch with her nature. A woman is the carrier of life. Nature has entrusted her to carry life. And with that much responsibility also comes with power.
Yeah.
Because responsibility without power is slavery. And so that woman has to be in control of the situations that nature has put herself in. If you challenge that control, then you call her evil, then you call her wicked, then you call her manipulative, then you call her conniving, because you do not understand how much that responsibility is for a woman and for her to make it so easy. And we can only understand a woman if we look at other organisms. If we look at an animal, how an animal adapts duty of bringing life in the wild. It has to choose the best mate. It has to choose the best provider. It has to choose the best defender. Pick up whatever animal is in your head right now.
Yeah.
It has to choose the best environment before
Yeah.
it can bring life.
Yeah.
The essence of a woman, and you can argue with it all you want, is to carry life.
Yeah.
That is one thing that men don't have. And so we are telling the young man, when the woman is chewing you up and spitting you out, it's not personal. When she's hypergamizing, it's not personal. When she's monkey branching, it's not personal. She has a very limited window for her to create a situation that is as perfect as she can humanly afford, dependent on the men she has access to, not the men that have access to her.
Yeah.
The men she has access to. So she has to continually adjust the level of access, and so therefore, the number of men. There is no guilt, there is no shame to her game. That is just her doing what women do. So when she starts with you, when you have nothing, and now she's exposed to a guy who is a little older and looks promising,
Yeah.
and then she gets to that guy and hears, oh, his boss is more stable, able to provide this safety and security and comfort that nature is telling me is what I need. Let me tell you something real quick.
Yeah.
If the roles were reversed and the men were the ones given the responsibility to carry life, life would collapse. Men would give up on having children. They say, this is too much. I have to look for the best man. I have to pretend he is the one who wants me. I have to do all these things. I have to figure out which one is better. I have to predict. I have to be an actuary of my own life to look at the dynamics and see where am I best suited 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 70 years from now. Isn't that what our grandparents did?
Yeah. Yeah.
How did my mom know to settle with my dad? How did she do that mental calculation? From the age of 18, she is 85 now. How did it work so perfectly for her? And how did she make it look so easy? But men, they're like, no, we just take one day at a time.
Okay, just pause there for a second. But you've just invoked another question within that, and I know you still want to add some more stuff there. But there was just one thing that you had talked about, and you said, yes, we agree that women need to pick the better option. Do you feel that the way they are picking the better option is correct?
They are adapting to the situation they have been dealt. Because if you look at even 40 years ago, 50 years ago,
Yeah.
all she needed to do is become an adult.
Yeah.
Then her father would look for the appropriate man for her.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward to 2025.
Yeah.
She has to go to the clubs. She has to pretend she drinks. Do you know women don't struggle with alcoholism as much as men do, in the normal sense?
Oh wow.
I have met so many people I have interviewed. No, just curiosity. They don't know it's an interview. Just out of curiosity. How did you meet your man? Oh, we met in a club. But the moment she scores that high value man, that's the end of clubbing. Now she goes back to her essence. She started preparing her nest to raise children for this man that she just called. But she had to go do the job.
Yeah.
In a club. You see all these cheerleaders of NFL clubs.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see all these influencers. You see all these IG models. You see all these people that put themselves in the face of the most high value man. I was an IG influencer. That's not what they like to do. But that is where the marketplace is for the highest value man.
Right.
And once they score that man, then they start building the nest. They homestead themselves because that is their essence.
Yeah.
So are they doing it wrong? As opposed to what? That's where the men are. That is the environment they are dealt with. And they are the most adaptive between the men and women. So they
Right.
adapt to the situation that they are dealt with. And oftentimes they still come up on top. And most importantly, they make it look easy.
Oh yeah, too easy actually.
You never hear women saying, oh, they used to be much better in the day when our elders would select a mate for us.
Yeah.
But men are saying that because men are back-footed.
Right.
He
Right.
adapting to this new set of games that is being played. Oh, back in the day, women used to be in the kitchen. Oh, back in the day, my father is the one who would go out there and talk to his age mate, and they would bring the one they have chosen to the man. Because you are lazy. But the woman has a duty to adhere to. She is responding to the universe. She is responding to nature. So, the best way to survive is to be the one that survives the most is the most adaptive one.
So basically men have not adapted at all to this environment, to this new
I
environment.
mean, the men are still insisting on the traditional man.
Yes. Yeah.
Why? Look at Robert Smith. He's a billionaire.
Yeah.
He's the richest black man in America. He had a previous marriage when he was younger.
Yeah.
Now, when he has money and he has divorced his first wife, he has to look for a younger woman. Find out where he found that woman. Do you think that is what that woman was doing? You think that was that woman's calling to be a magazine model? I'm guessing that's what she was. Look at Tiger Woods with the Swedish woman. Do you think where he found her, that was her calling? No. Women know how to adapt. They invade men's spaces now. They go to clubs, they go to bars, they go to sports events, they go to golfing events, they go to car shows, they go to car meets, they go to exclusive clubs.
Yeah.
Because they are adapting. Look at Sanchez, the one that's just married by Bezos. Look at her history. 2 previous marriages. 2 different baby daddies.
Yeah.
And she is still winning the richest man in the world. Kiulize maswali mingi sana. So she has, as a woman, know how to adapt. And she knows how to put herself in the proximity of the man. Look at Elon Musk.
Yeah.
He is picking up baby daddies from Twitter.
Yeah.
That phone girl that turned him down. Twitter. Ashley, the single mother in New York. Twitter. Both of them did exactly the same thing. And you know what is the funniest part? They were exchanging notes on how to score Elon Musk. Paul and Ashley were exchanging notes. Literally.
Hey. Yeah.
So Elon Musk is not on IG. Elon Musk is not on Facebook, but he is on X.
Yeah.
So they adapt. They come back. They don't go to events. They go to unveiling of new jets events. They have no clue. What's the difference between a G6500 and a G700? They have no idea. No. But that's where the men are.
Yeah.
They go to sports event and buy the best ticket to be in the closest proximity with the highest value man who would afford that ticket. They are adapting. The traditional man is complaining.
Oh man.
So now, going back to point number one, we need to equip the young man with the information about the woman so that he can craft his own rules of engagement with this woman to eliminate frustration, to eliminate projecting his failures on the woman and start calling her evil and wicked. No, there is no evil or wicked woman ever. There has never been one. When we see them, we call them for what they are. Feminists. Now that's no longer a woman. That now has evolved to something that is no longer a woman. There is no engaging with that one.
Right.
But a woman is a woman is a woman. A woman is going to do what a woman does. When they are broken, now that's no longer a woman. Now that's a feminist. Sometimes they do us a favor. They paint their hair bright colors like the toads, the poisonous toads and snakes in the wild, so that we can identify them from afar. Just like the animals know, don't approach that multicolored. Oh,
Yeah.
it's poisonous. Don't approach that snake with multiple colors on it. It's dangerous. Right now in my mind, I'm like, if I have to edit this video, I'll put pictures and videos of those dangerous toads and frogs and snakes. But you all know that.
Yeah.
So this broken woman here, that is no longer a woman, she paints her hair to tell you, beware, I'm broken. She puts on tattoos. She has multiple piercings. She is telling you, hey, don't go around engaging me and then blame women for what I'm going to do to you. Me, I'm not a woman. Me, I'm this other thing here. You should have known. The animals in the wild know. Even the lion cannot come anywhere close to a poisonous snake or poisonous frog. Why would you not know that? Now we are telling the man, here is the information. To eliminate the frustration, to eliminate these connotations of negative labels. Now, there we are. Have we now figured out what we are doing to the man?
Yeah.
Okay,
It makes absolute sense.
Point number two.
Yeah.
What is the point number two?
So you touched on why we need the information. Oh, right. So when you get to that level now, when the man has now established himself and now he has the information, now not to abuse that information. Or
now
not.
We just realized that we already answered the question number two.
Yeah.
There is no way of abusing information. The whole thing we are doing here is to give the man information so to eliminate the abuse. Once the man has the information, now they are having healthy interactions with the women. What is there to abuse about a healthy interaction with a woman?
Yeah.
Nothing. And why would I claim power for the actions that is taken by a young man with the information now they have at hand? All we want is to reset the world so that there is one more time harmonious interaction between men and women. This divide, this people are coming up with a solution.
Yeah.
The male side is inciting younger men against women.
Yeah. Yes.
The feminists are seeing the opportunity and they are saying, you see the incitement on this other side? Become like me. Now the feminists are using the incitement here to recruit women into this thing that is broken. Now you all of a sudden start hearing 23-year-old, they have the language of the feminists. From where? You don't have any bad experience with a man. Where did you get that information from? It's not out of experience. It's socio-engineering by the broken, multicolored feminist that is no longer a woman.
Right.
If the young man has the information and there is harmonious, healthy interaction with the woman,
Yeah.
that 23-year-old is going to be a woman forever. And she is going to be the one rejecting the broken feminist and her message. So you are a spoiler. You are a multicolored poisonous frog. Get away from this, Satan. Problem solved.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, you've even answered the third question that I wanted to ask you. And this was a totally different topic, but yeah, actually, what you've just already discussed. I don't know if this third question.
I want to drag myself. Now I have the opportunity to avoid question number 3.
Yeah.
But I want to drag myself there. I want that fight.
I'm going to ask it anyway. Okay. So there was another thing I was thinking about. You've heard of the term pretty privilege, right? You know, like people who are good looking can probably get away with anything because they're good.
They are women.
Women, yes. They're women, but they're also men. Do you agree? There are also men who are like really good looking men that can get away with anything.
Is that a man or is that
Okay, the point I'm trying to make here is why I'm saying this. These are men that a lot like, so basically, you know, like Kevo, Bryo, Chad, Tyrone, right? These are the good looking men that all the women flock to and get their hearts broken, and I feel like these men are ruining it for the rest of us, the rest of the average men, because a woman is going to go out with a really good looking dude. He's probably broke, doesn't have a good education, doesn't have any goals in life, but because he looks good, a woman is going to be like, wow, this is an amazing, good looking person. I want to, have a good relationship with him. And what he ends up doing is, because he's getting this large influx of attention from women, he's not going to value that attention, and he's just going to use and abuse, basically. And he ends up hurting the woman, and that woman now gets into that mentality that all men are bad. And the reason I'm asking this question is because it kind of relates to now the story that I was going to share. So do you believe in, like, there's the pretty privilege on the man side, that men who are really good looking, really basically they're lucky. They were lucky in the gene department, right? They were born with these amazing genes. They look really good, and they basically don't have to put in any effort to attract women because they just look amazing. And I feel like they ruin it for the rest of us.
This is a woman we are dealing with. She knows her calling. She knows her purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So if I ask you, how many Tylons and Bryo and the nose that you know that are married?
Well, actually, they wouldn't be.
Okay. How How many women do you know that are married to a Brayo and a Kivo? The answer is they are there for a reason. And the women are adapting to the demand of the man. Let's go all the way back.
Mm-hmm.
Women used to be married when they were innocent.
Yeah.
Their first sexual encounter was with their husband.
Yeah.
That used to be the norm.
Yeah.
Now, the modern man wants the woman to know what to do in bed.
Mm.
She has to learn it from Rayo and Kevo.
Mm. Yeah.
And right now, somebody is jumping to oppose that, but I'll tell you why.
Mm. Mm.
It's because the purpose for sex has changed.
Mm.
When the woman was a virgin, and that's when she would get married, the purpose for the sex was for recreation.
Yeah.
Now, the sex is a sport.
Yeah.
So the same woman is saying, oh, okay. So you want the wheelbarrow, and you want the lollipop, and you want the parallelogram, and you want the scissors, and you want the cow, and you want the cowboy. Okay, now I have to learn those things before I come to you. Because you want somebody to satisfy you, not to satisfy nature. I was doing so well when my purpose was to satisfy nature.
Yeah.
But now you have turned sex into a sport. So now I have to get some practice.
Mm.
Incoming Brayo, Kevo, they know. They practice with them. So that this guy, when he's just lying there, she knows what to do. But that's not what it should be. Now, you know, people who abuse prescription drug. What is the term given there? They are using the drug for recreational purposes.
Recreation. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
You caught it very quickly. Thank you.
Oh.
Watch this, right?
Mm-hmm.
An 18-year-old is a virgin.
Mm-hmm.
Her first encounter, the purpose of getting married was for recreational purposes.
Yeah.
Now, the modern man has redefined the meaning of the word recreation. The same way now we use the name recreation when we are talking about people who abuse prescription medicine. Did you get it? The word is the same. It's recreation. But in the modern way, now sex is recreation as in sports. It's a sexual activity, a sport activity. The same term remains. Recreation, when a woman purpose is to satisfy nature.
Mm.
The same term when you abuse prescription drug, recreation. Now there is a misinterpretation of the same word that means two different things for two different reasons. Now the woman adapts to that. So now you want to treat sex as a recreation, like recreational drugs. I will come with the skill set to adapt to that. But 50 years ago, she never needed to do that.
Oh, man.
That's why they don't want the conversations about their body count.
Mm.
You made me do it. Why would you now turn around and try to save me for my body count? You wanted a woman who knows what she's doing. Where did you think I'm going to get this from? So we are not going to have that conversation. Thank you very much.
Mm. Man. Interesting, man.
I am
Interesting.
adapting to what your new demands are. You are treating sex as a drug, a recreational drug. So I cannot come equipped after playing around with Blayo and Kego and Deno, and then you want to turn around and shame me who is who. Shame on you, boy.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
what was the question?
The question at the end of all of that was, they say that once they have encountered Kevo Brayo, now they have this mentality that all men are bad and evil because, it's that pump and dump kind of thing. And then it leads to the average man, the ugly, the medium or ugly looking guys, to now.
There is no ugly looking guy. There is a broke guy and a guy with money. End of story.
Yeah. So basically,
Oh, now I know where you are going and I'll help you there.
okay.
Remember when I jumped in, I said there's no ugly guy. There's just a broke
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
and a
yeah.
guy. The value of a man is his resources, his money, his power, his influence, his access. Now we are telling the man, build that. So that you can participate in this marketplace of exchange of values. And so that you can access the woman with the highest sexual market value. You can go back to 1950, where the woman had kept herself pure, or closest to that.
Yeah.
Now we want to call it body count.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what the man is doing. The highest sexual market value is in the youngest, most malleable woman with the lowest body count. For you to access this one here, you have to have built yourself up here. So these other women are not yours if you are playing this high game. And you have the information to know, which is where you and I started a long time ago, that when you have built yourself and you have fixed your frame, and now you are a high value man, you cannot share that value with somebody who does not have a value of their own. And you cannot share it with somebody who denied you their own sexual market value when you didn't have one for yourself. So now that eliminates the people you interacted with at the same proximity age group. So now we have to go back to the days of our fathers. They were in their 20s, some of them in their 30s, and they were married teenagers in early 20s.
Yeah.
Because that's where the value is, because of the essence of the woman.
Yeah.
But there is a burning question that you are trying to avoid to say, but you had put it in the list of the 3 questions. The young man,
There was
the message, and then me. And you had said something about, I am putting some content behind the
paywall. Yes.
I actually want to have that conversation.
Yeah. The reason I brought that up was I felt that, okay, the reason why I asked this question was men have already been burnt because of the poor interactions, like we've just discussed, poor interactions with women. They do not know how to maneuver in this world. They have been burnt so many times. Now you, George, have come up, popped out of nowhere. I am your savior. I will come and help you. Men are going to be a bit afraid because they've already been burnt. You can only burn someone so many times until they forget to, they don't want to share anymore. And fine, we open up to you, we share this information with you, our stories and everything. But then you are in a position, you can put this content behind a paywall or put this content maybe to members only or something like that. And then at the end of the day, then who are you helping then? Because it is only the people who have access to money or access to your inner circle that are able to consume that content, and probably might not be the younger men who are just 18, 19, 20, just getting into this world. Because I remember when I turned 18, I was thrown into this world like, you go and find your own way. And in a way it was good, because I learned through a lot of these experiences and all that. But you've said, okay, we're going to have a conversation, and then you put that information now behind some kind of barrier, and we don't, you don't want to share it. Later on, I later on discovered that, okay, maybe you were saying that these were videos that were going to be viewed by your members, and then maybe later on released to the public. I might be wrong there. I don't know. Maybe I misunderstood what you had said in one of those videos. If that's the case, then that makes sense. But if it's going to just be, we're having these discussions, and then you put it behind some kind of paywall or members only, and you're not going to release this to the public, then who are you helping? How are we going to get the message out there? How is the young man who does not have access to money and probably not even the internet will get this information?
When was the very first time you and I interacted?
The first time was, I think, 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago.
How did that happen?
Right. So you posted your WhatsApp number on one of your channels, and you said, contact me, let's reach out, let's talk. Which I was very, very excited about, because that's why I said, I mentioned this even in the first time. Like, there are a lot of men's content out there. They're doing good, but they have millions of followers and everything. I'm happy for them, but they're not doing one-on-one interactions like the way you and I are. And I was so happy.
Let's stay on our first interaction.
Yeah.
So I put up the number. I say, call me on +1 512 738 6400. You called that number.
Yeah.
And we talked.
Yeah.
And whatever the issue you had, you felt like I had addressed it satisfactorily.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah. I felt the interaction we had, you really answered basically all the questions that I had. Yes.
Okay. Now, if that was the end of the world, would your world have been complete? You went away and now you had clarity, correct?
Yeah.
If there was no video recording, it would not have diminished the value of our conversation. Remember, I am only talking to one person.
Yeah.
You contacted me. You saw my number.
Yeah.
We talked. We discussed your point.
Yeah.
And you went your way. Complete, satisfied.
Yeah.
Nobody else needed to know what me and you discussed for you to be validated that you got the satisfaction that you came here for. You were complete. You probably did not even know that I was recording.
Yeah.
But you walked away satisfied, your questions answered. If that ended there, that was it. Now, if my next action was to write a book about my conversation with you, and now my name is Robert Green, and now my name is whoever.
Yeah.
Are you telling me because that information came from you, that conversation happened between me and you, I should print those books and distribute them for free so other people can be helped by the conversation me and you had? And if I don't give them for free, those people are going to be sort of judged by the information they did not know existed. Because number one scenario is we sit, we talk, you go out of your way, and you are completely satisfied. I go back to pumping gas at Bazaar Total service station. That is the end of that planet. Nobody knew this happened. If a tree falls in the forest and there is nobody to hear the sound of it falling, does it actually fall? Does it actually make a sound? We don't know, because we are not in the Amazon forest.
Right.
But if I go to the Amazon forest with a video and I record a tree falling, and now you see the tree falling and you hear the thunder, the thump of the tree falling. Now you know there is a sound.
Right. Right.
If you're interested in that video, the same way you're interested in the video of a guy with his dog camping in the wild, or the guy with his 3 sons camping in Wyoming, then that thing now is a product.
Okay.
In my interactions here, I sit down here like a therapist. Therapists don't broadcast their sessions with their patients, but they write books about those interactions. But they go on podcast and reference vaguely those discussions. But the patient in the therapist's office was completely satisfied. She went her way. He went his way.
Right.
If the therapist now writes a book on a guide on how to overcome the things he knows people struggle with, whether it's marriage or finances or social life, then that thing becomes a product. Are you telling me that now the bestseller book about therapists should be given for free because there are still people out there suffering the same way this therapist is telling us that he had an interaction with one of his patients? Are you telling me that product should be free?
No. Yeah, I see your point. Yeah. No, I understand. I understand now. You you have created a product. The product cannot be free, but you have engaged with the person. The therapist has engaged with the person and solved whatever the problem that patient was having. Okay, I get it. I get it. And then to that point, then
The people who give coaching services in the corporate world, the people who give talks. Bill Clinton is a very good example.
yeah,
He's a public figure since he was a 28-year-old governor of Arkansas. He has been in public service. So all those talks should be free because he's talking about the things that he was already paid for when he was governor and he was president for 10 years, for 8 years. But no, we are not asking Bill Clinton not to charge $250,000 for 90-minute appearance in a talk, because now we know that is a product. And I'll eventually go where we can both agree on. But let me make these abstract examples for a minute. That is a product. It's packaged differently as a product. It could be a book, it could be a podcast. Podcast, if you go to podcast right now, you're going, like my favorite podcast is Shaka Vasdenstein. It's an Indian name. Roll with it.
right.
And his podcast name is called I blacked out. Podcast. Something about brain. And now I'll now get his full name, his real name. Brain. The hidden brain. Okay?
Yeah.
Are you with me?
I'm with you.
I'm looking now for his real name.
Okay.
Shaka Vedant. Oh, why can't I find it? Oh, here you go. Shankar Vedantam. Shaka Vedantam. So this is my number one podcast, The Hidden Brain. I'm interested in knowing why things happen the way they happen
Right.
in the brain before they happen where we see them. If you go to some of those podcasts, some of those episodes are behind the paywall. But majority of them are free. But some of them are behind the paywall. You have to be a subscriber to his channel.
Yeah.
Now, this is exactly now what I wanted to see. Now forget everything I said before that.
Okay.
Okay? You are going to love this one. I told you we cannot come to an agreement.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Dollar Tree and
With
Family Dollar?
the dollar?
The American stores look like mini supermarkets. They're called Dollar Tree. Another one is called Family Dollar.
Right. Yeah.
Everything there is a dollar.
It's like the pound. It's like the pound shops over here in the UK. Pound World, I think.
Everything is a dollar.
Yeah.
You go in there. If I go to our local supermarkets called HEB
Yeah.
or Walmart, a bread is $4, the kind I like to eat.
Yeah.
But the bread at Family Dollar or Dollar Tree is how much?
$1.
$1.
Yeah.
If I went to Family Dollar to buy this bottle of water and I found it's $2.99 because that is the market value at another place, I'm going to start arguing. But this is a Family Dollar. Why is it $2.99?
Yeah.
It is $2.99 in Walmart. I know that. But this is Family Dollar. Why is it $2.99? It's the same water, the same label. Now that is the value we apportion at products.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are familiar with Spirit Airlines.
Mm-hmm.
It's a budget airline in America with bright yellow airplanes.
Is it like there's also, I think there's JetBlue or something, I don't know, is it JetBlue or I can't remember. I don't know if those are.
JetBlue is premium. You're looking for, I'm not going to remember that other name. Oh. But I know the one you are referring to. But JetBlue is a premium. I think JetBlue was bought by Virgin Atlantic, or one bought the other.
Right.
It's a premium service.
Okay.
Frontier is the one you're looking for.
Yeah.
Frontier and JetBlue, they are budget airlines. But when they go to Boeing, the price of a Boeing 737 is the price of Boeing 737. Yes? Whether it's American airline buying it, whether it's JetBlue buying it, whether it's Frontier, whether it's Delta, whether it's whichever company is buying the jet. The price of the jet is the price of the jet. But JetBlue, Spirit and Frontier are telling you that this is budget price. But the product, the cost of the product, of the hardware is the same. When I see them at the airport packed to each other, they are the same jet. It's a 737. Which one has the label of Spirit, one has the label of Delta.
Yeah.
So what is budget about it? I want to show you now the perception. If you front your product as cheap, that's how people are going to, that's attitude you're going to cultivate with the people of the time you should not be interacting with. Because remember, if everybody is your customer, nobody is your client.
Yeah.
In the business world, you want to cut yourself a piece of the pie. Walmart has its own clientele. They offer goods and services suitable for their own clientele.
Right.
Target has a totally different clientele. The same product, but different clientele. The attitude is the difference. It's cheaper here, the same product. It's valuable here, the same product. Cultivate the attitude.
Yeah.
The attitude is the value. If you go to a Dollar Tree because it's $1, then in your head, that is the value of a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
But the same loaf of bread is $4 at HEB. What is the difference? Just perception. HEB do not make their own bread. Family Dollar do not make their own bread. They get their bread from Broadway's, Bakeries, Kenya Limited. But HEB has put value on this product, and Family Dollar has told you you can get it for $1. The difference is the perception. So if you come off the gate with a product that is Family Dollar, 6 months, 6 years down the line, you are going to have a very hard time handling what now has become your clients, not customers. What now has become your clients, telling them, now I'm going to put value in this product.
Right.
Much later, which is why probably you're not familiar with this. Kenyans, influencers and celebrities, whatever you want to call them, like there's this guy called Ganobia.
Yeah, I've seen some of his content. Yeah.
He tried to put a paywall to his product.
Yeah. Which was initially free and easily accessible.
We don't know you like that. And to be clear, he was asking people to send money for his product. Something that Kibe started from the get-go. Kibe created a product and put value in it. And people knew what to do with this product, with the super chats and super thanks and Venmos and cash apps and whatever that.
Yeah, there's the super thanks and super. Yeah.
On IG Live.
Yeah.
And subscriptions and memberships, right?
Right. Holy crap! This is all making sense.
Ganobia that did not put value in his product. Much later tried to say, hey, by the way, I'm putting now value. They are like, no.
Yeah.
We give you viewership. Figure yourself out. But they're not saying the same thing to Kibe. Because Kibe put value in his product and they reciprocated by also apportioning value to the product. This is Delta Airlines. This is Spirit and Frontier.
Yeah, okay. I absolutely agree with you there. Yeah, you've absolutely convinced me.
A cow is a cow is a cow when it's being butchered at the butchery.
Yeah.
When that meat leaves the butchery, the price of every piece of that meat is going to be dependent on the value of the location where that meat is being sold.
Absolutely.
The same cow from the same slaughter. You know Ibrahim supermarket? You're not old enough to remember Ibrahim's.
Yeah, not really.
long before there was Nakumat.
Right.
There was Ibrahim's supermarket. It was premium supermarket for the Indians. That's where they would go shop. They had cut themselves a clientele.
They had basically already set the standard from the beginning. It's like the Apple tax basically. Apple have set a standard and they're saying this is the value of our product. Oh man, this is all making sense, man.
The problem Quickmart is having is because they are trying to occupy a market share of Nakumat and Tuskys.
Right.
But they started off as convenience stores in gas stations.
Right.
That's how people still see them. Subconsciously.
But you know,
they were this last minute place you go to when you forgot something, when you needed a local bread in the evening, when you needed a packet of milk. No,
right.
For them to occupy the void that has been left by Nakumat and Tuskys, they have to activate so much energy to vibrate in that level. Because they are now catering to customers that they do not know. These guys here are Nakumat customers. These guys here are Tuskys customers. They have loyalty plans and rebates and all these things, and they have created a relationship with this. And now this is a supermarket. These are gas station convenience stores. Now try to match with that equity builder. Try to match with that rebate program, try to match with that point accumulation. But Carrefour entered the market at the premier level. Right?
Yeah.
And the customers responded in information. Customers at Carrefour don't treat Carrefour the same way they treat Quickmart.
Oh yeah.
The only difference here is the value.
But this raises another issue, and I think we've already touched this, is identifying the value from the get-go, from the point, from the beginning. If you fail to identify, I guess, your own value, or even the value in the product that you're creating, oh ho ho ho. Oh.
Uber capitalized on the failures of taxis. So they brought well-behaved, cleaner drivers with better-looking cars.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they digitalized the payment system.
Yeah.
Their failure was to implement gratitude into the equation from the get-go. They would not let customers give tips. The drivers, it was a huge oversight. They struggled with that for the longest time. How do you catch up with this thing without making it look like you are not understanding your customers? Because you are the one who imprinted the attitude of the customers that you don't have to tip.
Yeah.
How are you going to recycle them out of that?
Yeah.
Now, left comes in,
Yeah.
and they see the shortcoming.
Yeah.
And now we go back to the cake is so big, we need to get away from this lack and scarcity mentality. Lyft sees the potential here, not just for the market share, but also to correct and capitalize on the errors of Uber. So off the bat, they say, oh, if you like your driver, if the car was clean, if the driver was courteous and friendly, you can tip the driver. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the drivers flocked to left. Now I'm talking about the North American because you don't have left in your countryside.
Yeah, we have Bolt, we have Uber. Yeah.
Now we go to Tinder. Tinder is a masculine app where the man is in control of the relationship. But the woman is, well, the other way around. The man is responding to the changing situations of the dynamics of the modern man. So this masculinity here was having a glitch because a woman wants to be a woman. She still wants to be an independent woman. She still wants to be in control. She still wants to feel like she's not being treated like a subject. She still wants to feel like she's not being hunted like a wild animal. She's not a net alive simply because she's in a life.
Yeah.
And she still wants to maintain her pride. She's there for desperation, let's not forget that. But women are very good at hiding desperation and covering it with this attitude called pride. So when this masculine Tinder man is approaching the woman, the modern woman is like, have you been living under the rock? That's not how you talk to a woman.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me like that. Don't treat me like that. Don't treat me like I'm an object. And so, this woman who was working at Tinder, she saw that deficiency. She saw that deficiency. And she was like, aha, this is my moment to shine. She sued them for the way she was treated herself, for a reason. To demonstrate that she had a valid point. Even in my workplace, these men are misogynist. These women, these men are treating a woman like an object. So I'm going to sue them first so that I can have a platform to launch my product. And she came out here and she called it Bubble.
Bumble, yeah.
Bubble is in control.
Holy.
Because she's in touch with the modern woman. The modern woman wants to interact with a man on the same level. The modern woman does not want this masculine Tinder man that is not in tune with where the modern man, the modern woman is. So this girl comes out here and create a product to correct the deficiency that Tinder had missed. And she created Bubble. It's Bubble. The women are in control. The women do the
first interaction, yeah.
The woman takes the first action.
Yeah.
Now the woman feels empowered. Ah, that's a girl that understands us. That's a girl that understands the modern woman. This is our product now.
Yeah.
Bro, she sold that thing for billions in front of our eyes. She's from here in Austin. I know her house. My client, at some point, one of my drivers took him to her little tiny office in Austin. At the time, we did not know she was preparing to take this product public. My client is a billionaire. He's a Mormon. He had no business being in the dating app whatsoever. But he had seen the opportunity. So we took him to meet Whitney, is her name. To meet Whitney. Because he had seen the potential of giving the woman the tools of the power of engagement. So he invested in now what became a public traded Bubble. When she's ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange, she's holding a folder on her hip. 39 years old.
Yeah.
She identified the missing link between the interaction of the masculine man and the woman who would not respond to that level of interaction. And she created the product and she said, now you're in control. You start the first interaction. Swipe right. Well,
Yeah. You've absolutely you've made that point so clear. It makes absolute so much sense right now.
the value of the product is in the attitude. Cultivate a positive attitude towards the value of your product.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah. It makes absolute sense why you have done what you've done. It also makes sense why these other companies have done what like you've explained it, you've broken it down like perfectly. It makes perfect sense. And it has now also given me the idea of how I need to now navigate, not only with just what I'm doing on my channel, but just in my career as well. Because I need to identify the value that I can bring to a company if I'm working for a company. Because that's where that whole salary negotiation begins. Knowing what you can bring to the table, knowing the value, and then also placing yourself in a location where you know that value is justified.
And be careful not to get yourself entangled in conversation about price. Never talk about price. Never talk about salary. Communicate the value that you bring to the table. Learn a skill so well that they do not pay you by the hour. They pay you for the value you bring to the hour.
Ooh. Yeah.
You took time to perfect your skill.
Yeah.
When you have a perfect product, you have a perfect skill. When you present it to the market, now you can do this task in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be paid for half an hour. You don't get charged. You don't charge by the hour. You charge by the task.
Yeah.
So now this one here is $500.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely. Hey, man. You have schooled me. I will stop those questions, man.
Price, and in the case of employment, salary is the conversation you are having when you do not have value. Price is the conversation you have outside of value. I learned that from Busi, the Bekoayo. Price is the conversation you have outside of value. Do not talk about price. Communicate value.
Absolutely, man.
So now, if I say, on my very first live YouTube, I'm only going to hold it with my loyal clients, my loyal customers, my loyal members. So become a member to participate in my lives. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Which now takes me to thank my loyal clients that I have crafted from the world of multiple customers. I go in there and I cut my own cake.
Yeah.
My members, I'm going to read it in the order of seniority from the very first one member.
Yeah.
My very first member is Sheikh Itongu, Mr. Kibuiku, Rashid Muhammad. Rashid Muhammad is very good with super thanks.
Nice.
Then there is Malik 2313, And then there is Clifford Otindo. Thank you so much, Clifford. Kennedy A. Louis Joroge. Trevor Olwotich. There is a T on the word Olwotich. Trevor Olwotich. Kearan Juguna. Jenga Njeru. Eric Itahi. Fidel Owen. Joseph Bichu. Java Wiz. Samuel Mutune. Tony Silva. Duke of E10. Big K Tube. That's Big Bugs Theory. Sheriff Mustafa Sheriff. Super next guy.
Nice.
Daniel Mungai Tuguna. My private channel. That's somebody's name. One Me. That's another person's name. Robert S.
FDC. Nice.
And then there is Abyssinia Dental Center.
Nice.
That is Wasike. Jobless. Now, these are clients. Because if you're consuming a product that you're not paying for, you're not the customer, you are the product.
That is true. Oh, that is true, man.
These are customers. They are paying for the product. With membership, with super chats, with the other thing that comes when the space is live, the YouTube is live. I can't remember what is the name for it. All those things now tell you this is the feedback of my clients. And also, the people who subscribe, they are more important than anybody else to the channel. Yeah. When I look at my analytics, it divides the viewers of every product, every video, into two categories. The subscribers and the people who have not subscribed.
Yeah.
And it's 2/3 of subscribers, and then there is 1/3 here that is undecided. As I appeal to my subscribers, I'm not going to compensate the value of the product they have already attached themselves to, but I'm also going to appeal to them that have not subscribed so that they can also enjoy and attach the value to the product, so that they are not sitting on Frontier and Spirit Airline. They are here with JetBlue and Delta and British Airways.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, absolutely makes sense, man.
Okay.
Nice one.
I didn't want to avoid that question, right? Because it was important to put those things in that perspective.
And yeah, it has really opened up my mind as well, because yeah, it's going to make me attack basically everything that I do now with a totally different mindset now. It makes absolute sense.
You can run $1 and family dollar and sell everything for $1.
Yeah.
And then that's the customers you're going to get.
Exactly.
The ones that want to buy a $4 loaf for $1.
For $1. Hey, you got me there, man. You got me there. Oh man, that's crazy.
But I want you to know, the day they walk in that door and you have changed the price to $4.99,
they're walking out.
They're going to go buy the same loaf where it's $4.99. That is my point.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, man. Hey, man. It's so amazing, like your point of view, and then when you explain it, it really makes a lot of sense, man. I did not look at it in that way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, I rest my case, man. Let's move on to this story that I want to share, and then we can call
Oh,
it a
here come
session,
the
man.
stories. Here come the story. There's
This
this
story.
guy you know. It's not me,
It's
George.
not. No, trust me. This
It's
one
not
is not me, man.
me.
This one is not me. Trust me, man. I am literally right now. I'm reading a screenshot of this girl that had sent me this story, and we were just talking, and she opened up to me and she shared this story, and I was like, this is a story I must share with you, and I wanted to see your point of view of how she was thinking and what was going through her mind, because I feel like a lot of women have gone through this.
It's a girl.
It's a girl.
Aya, nigga.
So this is her story. This is her story. Okay. So I'm going to read exactly what she sent. So, I was shown dust one time. I almost went into depression. Some time back, I was seeing a guy. I was 100% with him. I did most of the things because he wasn't working. He was struggling with school fees. He hadn't completed school, so I didn't mind even paying for our dates and passing him money under the table when we were out with our friends so that they didn't know that he didn't have money. I always wanted to make him feel like he's still a man, even through his struggles. So it was his sister's birthday one day, and she invited me. It was a house party. So, like, we drank that night, and he blacked out, and so I slept with him in the living room. So, at like 6 in the morning the next day, the doorbell rang, and she went to open it and found this drunk girl at the door. And the drunk girl says she is just a friend of her boyfriend. And she says, okay, come in. And she insisted that she wanted to sleep with them. And at that time, she was saying, I was like, weird, but it's okay. I called his sister. She was like, it's easy. She knows her. So when this guy wakes up, which is her boyfriend, when he wakes up, he freaks out, and the girl is also there with her. So apparently, the girl was his ex, that they were back together, and she didn't know. So that day, I had a road trip with my friends. So at like 9, they came back to pick me up. I forgot my phone in the house. Then I remembered I had to go back. So when I was going straight to the rooms to get my phone, when I got there, everyone started acting weird. They didn't want me to go inside. I was like, what's up? No one was saying anything. So I went inside, and what I saw, they were basically her boyfriend having sex with the ex. I just got my phone and I left. People expected some drama, but I'm not the drama type. I just left. I never loved smoking weed, but that day I don't know my blunts, and no, I don't know how many blunts I smoked the whole trip. Now the worst part is I was stupid enough to get back with him when his ex left for the States. Now, there's a second part to this to this story where she says that even after she got back to him when the ex left, she still broke up with him and ended up with a different guy, and then they decided to have a child together. I mean, this was a complete total mess from the beginning, because when I read this story and she was telling me that she was with this guy even when he was broke, and she wanted to help him and she did help him financially. In my mind I was thinking, but why? I thought women would pick men who are at the finish line. This guy hasn't even started the race. How does she end up with this guy? And she knows very well that he's not really doing well. He's still struggling to pay his school fees, to be honest here. Why would she be with this guy? And then, even after she caught him cheating with the ex, she still got back together with him. I'm like, make this make sense to me. I know we say that it's it's in women's nature to pick the best. They go out there to look for the best, but how do you explain this? And this is not the first girl I've heard this story from. How do we end up in a situation like this?
Are we there now?
Yeah.
Now, he was her project. Okay?
He was her project.
Yes.
Okay.
She wanted somebody she can build and create and shape and change
Mm.
and support in her head.
Mm.
But that's not natural for women.
Yeah.
When you're giving me the story, you said women wait at the finishing line
Yeah.
for the winner. So she adapted this very unnatural state of the one providing for the man, of the one covering the man's shame, covering the man's brokenness.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and we're not going to dwell so much into it because you don't know her story.
Yeah.
She is responding to a trauma in her life that informed her that the results of the outcome of that trauma would have been different if the female figure put a little bit more effort in fixing the man. That's what she's responding to. And we have no idea what it is. I want you to understand that in abstract. Whatever trauma she went through, whether it's her parents or somebody close to her, she internalized it and said, if only the woman in the picture would have put more effort to cover the shame of the man, then the outcome would have been different. It has to come from that kind of trauma because it's not natural for a woman to do that. Okay?
Right, right.
Now, let's pause her for a minute. The guy here, as well intentioned the actions of the woman are,
Yeah.
his own interpretation is being emasculated.
Yeah.
It's not unnatural for a man to depend on a woman. That's why even when they go to a restaurant with her friends, she has to pass the money or the credit card under the table.
Yeah.
Because they both know it's not natural. This is an abomination. And that action itself, that state of being, emasculates the man. Which is why he still gravitates to the woman who saw him as a man, as a provider, whether even that provision is sex from this other woman that does not know him that way. They relate in the level where he is. This woman has treated him as a project that she can build him to become better. That other woman relates to him in that level of brokenness. That's what you want to call the financial brokenness part of it. So, remember, a woman's needs are directly proportional to the value of the source of her provision. That other woman had made peace with the value of the source of the provision of this guy. So they were having a good interaction. And even when they broke up because of this project, she still came back. Because that's where the appropriation of the value of the source of her provision was. This woman here is doing something unnatural because she is treating him as a project that she can fix. The problem is when a woman does that in abstract, try to change a man, and then the man relents and becomes that which she wanted him to become. She, in turn, hates what she just created in him, which is now why, later on we're going to learn out, we are going to find out, which is why she couldn't have a child with him when she was ready to have a child. She went to the right man to have a child. But let's come back to this one step here. Her efforts were futile.
Yeah.
Because she cannot change the man. It's having a negative effect, and the outcome from that which she is inputting, that man is continually getting emasculated. And there is nothing worse than a man who is shameful because of their socio-economic status. And this woman continually reminds him of that. You can shoo a man into building himself up inside of a relationship, but you cannot compensate for that provision because you are a woman. You are touched with the source. You can improve, you can manipulate the value of the source, but you cannot compensate. You cannot replace because you are a woman. You have to be provided for. That other ex, she had made peace with the socio-economic status of the guy. Which is why they came back together. Now, when this woman get angry because the ex came back and left, she still came back. But this time, she had a mission. She wanted to finish what she had started. The ex disrupted the process. Remember, if a man relents and allow the woman to change him, he is going to turn into that which he believes the woman wants him to turn into. And then when the woman sees the product of what she just created, she resents that. Follow me closely what I say next.
Yeah.
She came back to finish the project so that she can have that moment of resenting him. She wanted to finish the product, and the man become what she wants him to become, so that she can look at him and hate him for being so weak, for being so spineless, for being so irresponsible, for being so indisciplined, for not being a man, and the feminists add, enough. She needed to see that final product to enable her to move on to the next guy, the right guy. She could not have moved on without first accomplishing this mission here. This is my project. I was turning him into something that I will eventually in the future resent, because the only way to compensate for this unnatural act of me being the source of the value of the provision is to emasculate him so much to a point that he turns into what I want him to turn. And that will give me the opportunity now to resent what I have just created out of him. It's the only way I can move on. So that's why she came back. Even after finding him with the ex, to accomplish that, to get that for herself. Yeah. Because that's the fuel she needed to move on. That's why she swallowed her pride and came back to get that. She wanted to resent him. It was not about anything else other than that project she had started. She needed that
Yeah.
to get over him so that she can now go to the man that she had a child for.
Hey.
And now you know, a little deeper, right?
Yeah. This is
A little
crazy.
deeper. A little deeper. This dysfunction of her being the source of the value of the provision, this inverted, unholy exercise here of providing for the man, it's coming from the trauma of her past, her childhood. She probably watched whatever it is. We are not going to speculate.
Right.
She also needed to get over that trauma so that she does not take that trauma to the right man. That's why, more than ever before, she needed to come back and finish this guy so that she can deal with that trauma of being an awkward provider to a man. She needed to deal with that trauma. Desperately needed it. So that on the other side, now she's a natural woman who submits and obeys and honors and respects and follows the direction of a man. A high value man. A man who is worthy of her carrying his child. And now we know she healed. Because there we go.
What? Man.
It's never about the woman. It's everything about the woman. A woman is not wicked. A woman is not evil. A woman is not bad. A woman is a woman. That's now we go back to square one where we started. Equip the man with the information. Enough for him to form the rules of engaging with the woman. Because the woman is not going to change. Changed into what? She changed because she's broken. Now she's a feminist. Who wants to deal with that?
Yeah.
But we want a woman as a woman.
True.
Don't ask the woman to change. Just get the information. I keep quoting Cesar Millan, celebrity dog trainer. He says, no, I don't train dog. I train human. We want the man trained. The dog is biting because the handler does not know how to engage with the dog. You cannot rehabilitate a dog if you don't know, if you don't have the training on how to handle the dog. So now you're going to blame the dog for biting. You're going to blame the dog for chewing in the couches. You're going to blame the dog for peeing and pooping everywhere. You're going to blame the dog for all these things. But you are the problem. You don't have what it takes to rehabilitate a dog. Get the training from Cesar Millan.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with the dog.
Yeah.
And you can take the word dog for the B word. It's the same animal.
Oh,
There's
man.
nothing wrong with the B word.
Yeah.
Get the training on how to handle the B word.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Hey, man.
Anyway,
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I really appreciate it, man. Dude, you have really, really opened my eyes as usual, man. Every conversation I have with you is an absolute eye opener, brain wrinkler, basically. Hey, man. Anyway, I think these were the only things that I wanted to touch on, and obviously from the story as well. But once again, it has been an absolute pleasure. Like I cannot stress this enough. You are this vault, a gold mine of information, and it's an absolute privilege to allow us to pick pick that gold. So I really do appreciate it, man. You've really put a lot of things into perspective, and now I'm going to go into my own bubble and rewatch this, and literally just internalize it and just be like, wow. I mean, there are even certain things, even from the beginning when we just started this call, you just mentioned that just flew over my head, and I need to go back and watch them and be like, hey, I just missed something here, But wow.
Let me say something else that I came up with not too long ago.
Yeah.
When I'm confronted with the idea of the red pill and the monastery, it was so unsettling for me.
Yeah.
I couldn't. People say I agree with some of the things, I don't agree with some of the things.
Yeah.
For me, it was not that. It was not agreement or disagreement.
Mm-hmm.
It was just it's like Whitney looking at Tida and saying they are missing something. We need to come up with bubble.
Yeah.
It's left looking at Uber and say they should have started off with the tipping option. It's not that the logistics and transportation and the engagement of the drivers and good cars and all the discipline in it is wrong. No, it's not about that. So it's not about the manosphere. It's not about the red pill. Here is what I saw. So I had to come up with my own interpretation of what is red pill. And I say, red pill is application of logic in relationships with women so as to diminish the effect of emotions in decision making.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Most relationships are based off of emotion.
Yeah.
On both ends of the gender. Red pill, whether they know it or not, they are just trying to activate logic. So I said, red pill here, I like it, but what is it? So I had to come up with my own definition. It's the application of logic in relationships so as to diminish the effect of emotions in decision making. And you can take that from courting and dating all the way to 20 years inside of the marriage. If you are able to amplify logic inside of the marriage,
yeah,
then you minimize or eliminate the effect and the influence of emotions in the decision making inside of the marriage itself. So it's a long term cause and effect. That's how I view manosphere, which is why I refuse to subscribe to the ideology that a woman is evil, a woman is wicked, a woman is this. No. A woman is a woman. A woman is going to do what a woman does. When she acts out of those ordinary parameters, she is no longer a woman. She's a feminist. Now we know what to do with feminists.
Yeah.
You cannot bracket blame all women without knowing what is these rotten potatoes in the big sack.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Man. Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
All right, man. Thank you for your time. Let's do this tonight.
Absolutely, man. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much once again. I hope the thunderstorm subsides and everything's okay on the side, man.
It looks very, very bad. I don't have to go anywhere. But it looks bad. The wind has slowed down. You don't hear the rumbling
Yeah.
my sliding glass anymore. But
That's good.
the wind has subsided, but the weather is imminent.
No worries, man. Anyway, thank you so much for your time, man. I'll not keep you any longer. All right. Take it easy, bro.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Bye.
Next time, bring that girl with you. The one in the story.
I will definitely try and bring her on the call. I have her WhatsApp. I talk to her on WhatsApp daily. Okay, not daily, but every other day.
This is the girl that is now married and has a child with another man.
Yes.
That's a winner in my books. I go in there and engineer the man, but for the woman, she's winning.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll try and see if I can get her on a call at some point.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Take it easy,
All right,
bro.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right, man.